content, but he great and he do like more full time than Angle. Not Angle, than Arrow. Commercial break right now, but not commercial, but so let's go for what Angle had to say. So Angle is a great wrestling content creator. I've been watching his channel lately, the past 4 years. Great wrestling news. Great. He have his own opinion about wrestling, and for use, he's gonna So a huge WWE announcement, more main roster call up, and more WWE news. And fair use. So fair use for Angle. Let's go for it. What Angle had to say about huge WWE news. Don't talk Arrow. I'm cheating with him with Angle.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we got to talk about a variety of big news. WWE made a huge announcement today. Also, in addition to that, we're going to talk about another NXT call-up, another person who is expected to stay in NXT, and so much more. If you guys want more videos like this, don't forget to click that subscribe button. So first things first, I would like to kick things off with Joe Hendry. As you guys know, WWE had revealed that.
So people don't know who's Joe Hendry. Say his name and he's up here. I believe in Joe Hendry. So what's going on with him? Let's find out.
Joe Hendry will be on WWE Raw next week for a concert. Well, it turns out that that's actually going to be his official main roster call-up. Numerous reports.
So John Hendry will be next week on Monday Night Raw. He's gonna do a concert, so he's gonna debut. So yeah, so he's gonna be in the main roster now.
Reports have come out about the future of Joe Hendry, and quite honestly, I am a little bit puzzled here, but we do got to talk about it because he is set for a full-time move with a plan to be in the upper mid-card. Now, this came from WrestleVotes Radio on Fightful Select, and they confirmed that Joe Hendry is making his full-time push, full-time call-up to WWE Raw. He is scheduled to perform a concert on next week's episode, which is going to serve as his introduction to the brand, while he is also finishing up in NXT. There is a chance that he could pop up in NXT if needed. Now, with that being said, there was a long-standing rumor that Joe Hendry would be on SmackDown. We all saw that segment with The Miz. However, WWE officials have pushed.
So basically, a lot of people think that Joe Hendry that he's gonna go to Friday Night SmackDown because of with him and the Miz going on lately, but not. So he's gonna be a Monday Night Raw.
The creative team to make plans for him on Raw. Now, with that being said, what WrestleVotes claimed was pretty interesting. He's going to make his home on Monday Night Raw, but what is the ceiling for him? A lot of people have been pushing for him to get to Raw. Obviously, that's a very big deal. Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know how I feel about this, but I want to continue further. They have already seen him capture the NXT championship. I don't expect him to win any major championships on the main roster of the World or WWE championship. So there's definitely a ceiling at that level. Could I see him win a U.S. title or an intercontinental title? I think you could. I kind of see him in a similar.
I feel like he can win an Intercontinental Champion or a United States Champion, but he need to build his level up to the higher state. Cause you got Roman, you got CM Punk, you got Seth Rollins, and many more high talents. So he's going to be a mid car.
Situation as LA Knight, where he's a guy a lot of people are going to clamor for, but is not getting the opportunities that he should. I'm sure you're going to get a few of those concerts as we see coming up on Raw this upcoming Monday night. We'll have a concert from Joe Hendry as his entrance is his debut on WWE Raw.
C Dance 2.0 is now on Artlist, and you can get precisely what you want.
I'll take a robbery with a fight.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not a fan of this. I'm sorry. I think I've made it kind of clear on this channel. As of late, I'm just not a big fan of Joe Hendry. And Joe Hendry is talented, great performer. I just don't see. I just don't see it. I think his character needs a huge shift. I think meme culture, it only works a little bit. That's honestly how I feel. I feel like Danhausen, it works. Our truth works, but I think you got to be careful with the meme.
No, I feel like he was saying that he don't believe in Joe Hendry. It's his opinion. But look at R-Truth, it's good, and also he's part comedy. Danhausen used to be he wrestled, but he's more into comedy stuff. But I don't see Joe Hendry as a comedy guy. He's like upper wrestler than Danhausen, in my opinion.
Meme culture, and I think Joe Hendry is a walking meme. And I mean this respectfully, but I just think Joe Hendry is one of those guys who is good at what he does, but everything has a shelf life. And if you want to know why Joe Hendry didn't get the John Cena match on John Cena's retirement tour, it's because Joe Hendry isn't taken as a serious athlete in that regard. And I know that's kind of like the cold hard truth, but it is. John Cena fighting.
I feel like, a lot of people saying that he's not that serious. Look at what happened to current Killer Croc in WWE. He was good in NXT when Vince McMahon was there. You had to work the glider and the helmet thing with no Scarlet by his side. But they're really good wrestlers if WWE give them a chance. But lately WWE don't give them a chance, in my opinion.
Joe Hendry would have done what? You know what I'm saying? It's not like I understand Joe Hendry's popular, but I think there's a difference between being popular and then being very credible. And I say this respectfully. I just don't think Joe Hendry has a character that is credible. I think it has a very, very, very big limit. And I think Joe Hendry does have the potential to change his character, but to see him do something much more serious, it could be kind of detrimental to him. So it is what it is, man. We'll see what happens. Obviously, I'll keep you guys updated, but it is important to mention. And obviously, because we can't predict anything, plans could change. But I do think WWE will do 2 nights of WrestleMania 43.
So for next year WrestleMania, going to be Saudi Arabia. Yeah, a lot of people going to go from the United States to Saudi Arabia early. No. And I feel like our country, like, European, the Netherlands, Israelis, other side of the world can go to WrestleMania first time experience, but what's going on in the war, Israel and many more.
In Saudi Arabia. Now, the real question would be, how will tourism look? Because obviously, with WrestleMania weekend in America, we know that WrestleCon exists. We know that all these other indie shows exist. Is there a possibility we could even see anything remotely like that with WrestleMania taking place in Saudi Arabia? There is a lot of questions, a lot of things that people don't really have the answers to, but it will be interesting to see what happens. I know Nikki Bella and Brie Bella were talking on their podcast, and Nikki Bella was basically saying that WrestleMania in Vegas would have been her last WrestleMania where her friends and family and people locally.
Look, like Saudi Arabia have a lot of money, but people think about other wrestlers, think about their safety going over there. Plus, if WWE switches, other company will make more money during WrestleMania week, like Ring of Honor, other WrestleCon. Because think about it. Oh, to travel to other state or other country costs more money. The hotel, food. Then you have to wear like their outfit because you don't let women. So it's gonna like women cannot wear two-piece, wrestle, or short skin compared to the United States. So I feel like it's WWE. Let WWE do their own part and do the other company stay in the United States and WrestleCon too, because it's separate from WWE. So I'd rather do separate it compared to everybody going over there to Saudi Arabia, in my opinion.
Could come and watch. So they obviously don't have the expectation that it could happen in Saudi Arabia. So that is something to kind of mention. But I think WWE is going to go where money talks the most. And I think Saudi Arabia and WWE's partnership obviously pays WWE a lot of money. And for TKO, every dollar counts. So we'll see. We'll see how WWE could even monetize it. You know, they're setting all these records and WWE World and all of these different things. What is that going to look like in Saudi Arabia for WrestleMania 43? But the reason why I even bring this up is because WWE made a huge announcement, and it sounds like WWE will continue working with Saudi Arabia. Now that brings us to Ricky Saints. Ladies and gentlemen, the situation with Ricky Saints is actually very, very interesting because
now talking about Ricky Saints, like Ricky Starr. Anyway, let's continue. What's his situation going on right now?
we just talked about Joe Hendry getting called up to the main roster, but it sounds like there is a chance that Ricky Saints may not be called up to the main roster. I thought this was a very, very interesting report. However, I could see this actually going down the way it is. Now, for those who don't know, according to a report from bodyslam.net, WWE has already discussed the possibility of calling up Ricky Saints to the main roster. However, we all thought that would be the case. We all thought, okay, Ricky Saints goes to SmackDown, Ethan Page goes to Raw. It kind of makes sense. However, the situation that's unfolding could be a little bit of an issue for WWE because according to a report, another source has indicated that the CW network would prefer to keep at least one experienced and
so basically like keep him experienced wrestler. Plus also, who's your top star for NXT so far? Cause Ethan Page leaving, Joe Hendry is leaving. Obafemi left already. Like all the top star left already. You got Ricky Starr left. And I feel that I would keep Ricky Starr like one more year or till SummerSlam in NXT. To build more character to other NXT stars, in my opinion.
established male star on the NXT show for now. That request comes after all of these call-ups have been made. So the network, obviously the CW, you got to keep in mind, they just lost Javon Evans, Trick Williams, Obafemi, Ethan Page.
With Base 44, a simple sentence becomes your website.
Joe Hendry. All they really have at the main event scene would be Tony D'Angelo and Ricky Saints. Is Ricky Saints going to be in a situation where he does not get called up because the CW network needs him? That's a tough battle for the WWE, quite honestly. And if I were the WWE, I know you got to make your TV networks happy. You got to make your partners happy. But I don't know if Ricky should be in NXT anymore. And I think to circumvent that, you obviously have the upcoming debut of Evil in Hiromu Takahashi. And maybe you start pleading with the CW networks and saying, guys, we're bringing in some free agents from elsewhere. Everything's going to be okay. I don't know. I don't know if that's something that could be done. I don't know how the CW feels about it. But there is a chance that we may not see Ricky Saints on SmackDown. So just keep that in mind, because things will definitely 1,000,000% get interesting here. But Ricky is too good to be on NXT. And I don't think there's anything left for Ricky to do at NXT. So it is appropriate for him to be called up. This is just the nature of the beast. This is the problem that NXT will always have when you do a call-up system. If you keep somebody down there too long, it is very obvious and it rubs people the wrong way. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. Okay, and that's going to bring us to WrestleMania 43 in Saudi Arabia. I know we just got over WrestleMania in Vegas, but trust me when I tell you guys, this is absolutely big news. Things could very well change. Obviously, this is a wait and see type of thing. But as of right now, WWE is still on track for bringing WrestleMania 43 to Saudi Arabia. And a target date is starting to become rumored. So there's a lot of rumors. It could be in early April, that sort of thing. But what gets really interesting is, according to WrestleVotes Radio on Fightful Select, the backstage expectation within WWE is that WrestleMania 43 will take place in Saudi Arabia as previously planned. Now, a targeted date of March 27th has emerged, which would serve as the final weekend in Riyadh season. Now, that is a very, 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 very big deal, because Riyadh season is very important to Saudi Arabia, and this is where a lot of events go down. They have a festival and things of that nature. Also, the weekend of April 10th is also being considered as a potential alternative. Now, I do know that early April, the Masters golf tournament or whatever is taking place as well. I don't foresee WWE wanting to compete head-to-head with that, as that is also very popular. Now, with that being said, Fightful Select had previously reported that the shift, WWE would potentially consider doing only one night of WrestleMania next year. However, Sean Ross Sapp reported that ESPN executives have expressed a preference for the two-night format to continue. WWE obviously is going to do what makes ESPN happy. ESPN is, it's been said that ESPN was very happy.
So rumors going on, Saudi Arabia, WrestleMania 43, that there's a lot of events going on in Saudi Arabia, and the money talk, ESPN have a contract with WWE, TKO will make them happy. Said one night, they want to still continue doing 2 night of WrestleMania over there. Then, yeah.
With what WrestleMania did for the ESPN service and their app. Obviously, if you're doing a 2-night show or whatever it may be, you get to double the revenues and things of that nature. I think for WWE, this will be the first time that they're doing an international WrestleMania, which kind of makes it harder for WrestleMania weekend and obviously tourism. So we'll see how WWE kind of maneuvers around that. But I think the big talking point right now is the conflict that is happening in the Middle East and whether or not WWE can safely run the event in Saudi Arabia. As of right now, WWE executives, and it seems like pretty much everybody, is claiming that it's not a concern. So there is a very good chance that it will proceed as.
If I go into WrestleMania 43 at Saudi Arabia, No. It's a lot of money. I'm scared. Are you going to Saudi Arabia, Arrow? Take Mrs. Arrow to Saudi Arabia. Answer that question.
Normal. But with that being said, I think you just have to use a little bit of common sense here. Nobody knows what the future holds. We didn't know what the future was going to be in 2020, right? And we saw how WWE had to change WrestleMania plans last minute. So that is a possibility. Anything could happen, anything could go down. And if that's the case, it is what it is. All right, guys. So look no further. WWE has just revealed Night of Champions is official. Now, the date and the venue have been officially
So WWE announced Night of Champion. We're gonna be at
revealed. WWE has announced that Night of Champions will take place on Saturday, June 27th, 2026 at the Kingdom Arena in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. The announcement was out.
another Saudi Arabia event. That means you better wake up early.
We made through all of WWE's regional social channels. In addition to that, though, WWE will continue working with them despite the conflict that is happening in the Middle East. Now, with that being said, WWE obviously has it locked down for a new date. They have all of this happening. They have everything being planned, the logistics and everything like that. It's there. And I think for WWE right now, what it's really coming down to is things could change, right? Again, we don't know what to predict. WrestleMania 43 is a year away. However, it is only April 23rd at the time of this recording. So technically speaking, even Night of Champions could be changed if WWE has to make the change. Now, the real question will be whether or not WWE continues with the Night of Champions kind of being like a champion versus champion thing. Are we going to get Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes? Like, what's going to be the plan there? Who knows what WWE's plans are moving forward. But obviously, with WWE making this huge announcement, I think it reveals a lot about what WWE's plans are and how WWE continues to operate despite all of the things that are happening in the world currently. So with that being said, WWE bringing Night of Champions to Saudi Arabia shouldn't be a shock. However, it should be a very big deal considering.
Man, Saudi Arabia getting all the pay-per-view this year before their contract is over with them.
In all that is taking place around the world. And I think if WWE can do Night of Champions without any issue, without any concern, without any of that, I think WWE will continue doing what they're supposed to be doing. And that's just kind of how it's going to be, right? I think at the end of the day, people are going to be outspoken about it, but I think WWE has done a really, really solid job with their partnerships. And WWE continues to make their partners happy. And I think Saudi Arabia is very happy with WWE. I think their fan base obviously very much loves WWE. If they're able to do it safely, I think people are going to be okay with that. At the end of the day, it is what it is. We can't really control the conflict that is taking place overseas. And hopefully the faster it ends, the sooner it is. The better it is for everybody. So WWE is saying, listen, we're going to do WrestleMania 43 in Saudi Arabia, but we're going to continue, even though that's a year away, we're still going to continue working over there and bringing the shows over there. And I think that's what WWE is going to do. Nick Khan and everybody's been very vocal about it, and they don't really plan on changing their tune. And it is what it is. So we'll see what happens. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the Angle Show. Thank you all for watching.
So, what do you think about the Angle Show? Talking about wrestling content, and also how WrestleMania on Saudi Arabia, Joe Hendry going to Monday Night Raw next week, Ricky Starks staying in NXT, and Saudi Arabia again, Night of Champion. What's your guys' opinion about all that and the WWE and around the world going on? Like, comment, share. See you in the next video. Peace.